today I have got Scott Knowles from the Chamber joining me. For people that are quite new to Turnaround Talks has been set up to actually look at the good that's happening around today, and also the positive news from businesses and the influential people around us today. So I know Scott, and I'm familiar with Scott's role within the Chamber, but for those that haven't come across you before, Scott, do you mind just telling people who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Amanda. My name's Scott Knowles. I'm Chief Executive at East Midlands Chamber. And East Midlands Chamber is one of 53 accredited chambers of commerce in the UK. And the chamber here in the East Midlands, which covers Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire, is the largest by geography. So we're the biggest UK chamber with 4,350 members as it stands currently.
Wow, so that's fantastic to hear about how much the Chamber's grown, particularly the area that you look after. So for the business owners within the Chamber at the moment, there's quite a lot of fear and uncertainty around. What is your message to everyone right now?
So it's interesting because, of course, we've got this huge different series of sectors and clusters across the East Midlands. And therefore, clearly the challenges as a result of COVID-19 coronavirus are different, not just for each sector or each geography, but also for each business. But it is all about planning at the moment. So, we've gone through a process where businesses have had to get to grips with a whole series of government interventions around protecting jobs, around protecting businesses. That was the first sort of 2 or 3 weeks of lockdown. Most businesses now understand what support they can get, how they get it, and very much now the vibe from businesses is about planning for recovery. So it's all the R's, it's recovery, it's rebuilding, it's rebooting. So the message really for businesses in general at the moment is, plan how you're going to return to your place of work, maximise what government support is available, and then maximise what localised business support is available as well, because there's another whole series of resources there, whether it's expertise, whether it's grant funding, to help businesses prepare for, clearly the next phase of their life cycle in a post-COVID environment.
Amazing what the Chamber has been supporting businesses with as well, with the help desks and everything that's been going on. So for a lot of businesses, obviously there's been challenges that are on a different level. But with all challenges, there actually becomes things that we can actually learn from it and take from it. So if at all silver lining is the right word, because obviously the events that have gone on have been unprecedented, but where do you actually see learnings can be taken from this and used to be positive?
I think everybody's been clearly forced to use technology to a much greater degree. You've probably heard other people say this, that what has happened has accelerated. Excuse me, can I edit that bit out? What COVID has done is obviously accelerated businesses' transformation strategies, their own business transformations, their technology adoption strategies. Things that were probably planned over the next sort of 3 to 4 years have actually all been condensed into about 2 months. And of course, by embracing these technologies, it's obviously demonstrated to us all that actually we can still be very effective and we can be very productive. Yes, it's not the same as face-to-face. And I haven't heard a single business yet that said they are going to go back and deliver their business, or their delivery model will be exactly the same as it was pre-COVID. Every business leader I talk to are talking about a blend, and they're talking about how the use of technology they will continue to invest in. They will continue to use these platforms so that they are productive and that they are efficient, and that it helps them control costs, which of course is going to be clearly much more important. Always been important to business, of course, I can only imagine it's going to be much more important going forward. So everybody's talking about how they adapt, and we keep hearing that word, don't we? Adaptation. How will businesses adapt long term for the future? We obviously don't know if COVID is going to be is it a one-off event? Could it be a horrible seasonal thing like flu? And therefore businesses are wanting to know how do they adapt for the medium and long term, so that actually if you get another similar interruption event like COVID-19, actually they can keep working. They can, you know, they can flip from one delivery model to another, and you know the period of sort of inactivity that we've seen in some areas of the economy won't be repeated.
Absolutely. So courage, resiliency and positivity and faith to a certain degree plays an important part right now. I know from the Chamber there's been some great examples of where businesses have stepped up and where businesses have changed greatly to cope with what's been going on. Do you have any stories that you come to mind from you that demonstrates this? I know the Chamber in particular as well has changed the way that it works and the way that it looks at its operations.
Yeah, we had to virtualize all of our delivery within about 2 days, which was interesting, and has worked really well. Particularly our events program. You know, we've been delivering about 60 events each month now, all virtual, and had thousands and thousands of attendees. Actually, many more attendees than when it used to be face to face. So it probably says something. You've seen lots of businesses that have sort of, and it's an overused word at the moment, pivoted and diversified from their core business. And some of that is, you know, where you've had manufacturers, you know, transforming from manufacturing their widget or their product into manufacturing PPE, for example. So, you know, you've seen a number of examples of those sort of positive transitions from one product development to another, and again, all happened at pace. You know, local Leicester business, Microfresh. We heard from Byron yesterday on your turnaround roundtable. You know, Byron was talking to us about how they were manufacturing sanitizer. You know, so that's just one example of one business that has done the right things. The opportunity that COVID has presented has led them to transform their business. And it's not about profitability. It's not about profiteering or opportunism. So many businesses doing the right thing, doing what they do because it's the right thing to do, and it's supporting that wider community effort. Lots of examples of businesses that are really enhancing their corporate social responsibility at this challenging time. Lots of business owners understanding that it's really important, even more so now, demonstrating how they look after their employees, how they support the sector they're in, how they support the communities in which they operate. We've had a campaign running called EM Coming Together, or hashtag EM Coming Together. And that's on the Chamber website, where we've been showcasing all the really great and good stuff that business has been doing to support the communities in which they operate. And there's dozens of stories there, so I'd urge any of your listeners to go and have a look at that.
Oh no, great. It's like you say, it is good to hear some positive news though that is coming from this. So obviously we're talking about transformation. We've talked about acceleration to a certain degree. Things that may have happened but have been a result of this has happened quicker than perhaps people anticipated. But the Chamber, do you actually think the Chamber has got stronger through this? And the changes that the Chamber was forced to make at accelerated paces, do you see that the changes, and what changes do you think will keep here? What do you still see remaining?
Yeah, I mean, I would say this, wouldn't I? But yeah, I think definitely the Chamber, our ethos over the last several weeks, or rather our vision for the last few years has always been to enhance East Midlands businesses and communities. And both the business and the community part are, in our view, an integrated component. Not only have we transformed our delivery model to be virtual, I think in terms of your question, you know, what will endure? We won't go back to 100% face-to-face delivery model. We know these mechanisms work for certain products and for certain types of support that businesses want. And I said earlier that actually, since we moved our events virtually, actually the attendance has gone up several fold, because an hour is an hour. It's not an hour plus a load of travel time in either direction. So we'll keep doing this because it clearly works. Some of our engagement mechanisms with entities like the Bank of England or MPs, they clearly work much better in a virtual capacity. So we'll keep doing more of that. I think our membership offer will need to keep evolving. I think what our membership offer looks like today might be quite different in a year's time, but we need to see what actually are the business support needs of members, of customers, of the wider business community as we start to come out of lockdown back into the fully operating economy, and then what comes next in terms of what is that support requirement there. And of course, one of the other things that's on the other side of COVID, which you're starting to hear little bits of narrative about again, of course, is Brexit. And clearly we are currently on a timeline where the UK has to have a trade deal with the EU by the 31st of December. Otherwise, it's a no-deal scenario. And government's already published its sort of future tariff arrangements. So, that again will drive a different kind of support, different from COVID and different from what came pre-COVID. So, I see the Chamber's role continuing to evolve. It needs to be a contemporary organisation, the same as its members. And as I say, I think what our offer looks like in a year's time might be quite different.
Oh, thank you, Scott. We are coming to the end of it now, so thank you. But I think most people would like to hear and listen to your views about the Chamber, and most people will obviously take the lead from the Chamber on what you're doing as well. So thank you. Thank you very much for being part of that.
You're very welcome, Amanda. Thank you for the opportunity.